Now, everybody, there was some Europa League action last night, even though the English teams weren't involved. But José Mourinho was involved, and his Fenerbahce side beat Anderlecht 3-0 with Dusan Tadic and Edin Dzeko on the score sheet. Again, the Turkish Super League is the place to be, Jim, at some point in your career.
Indeed. Such is the power of José Mourinho that we are starting with Fenerbahce Anderlecht. I know it's a slow evening, like this Thursday just gone, but I mean, that is.
But also,
that is something, isn't it?
Because there's no English teams involved, the broadcasters in question just decided there was just no visible way to watch any of the other games you wanted to watch.
The highlights I've seen were just from a bloke's phone.
It's like...
And that was Andy Brassell's phone.
The left hand, the left hand doesn't know what the right hand's doing. Like everyone, all the authorities are saying, we've got to play more football. People love it. We've got to play as much as we can. We can make loads of money. And then, but you can't watch any of it.
Yeah.
What's the point?
Do we get a refund for Thursday?
Exactly. We should do. And we should also, we're going to mention goal scorers. We should mention En-Nesyri's header.
Yes.
An absolute power header.
Beautiful header.
It was fantastic. You don't see as many power headers these days.
He's a fine player.
He's a very good player.
The Turkish Super League is kind of what the Premier League was in the sort of the early mid-90s.
Feels a bit like that, doesn't
because it has all those players.
Yeah.
It does.
People used to come to Premier League late on, didn't they?
Yeah.
Like to rescue their careers.
Yeah, that's true.
Oh,
Not rescue themselves, but maybe just...
reinvigorate themselves.
Yeah.
Ruud Gullit.
Dennis Bergkamp.
There's
Gianfranco Zola.
There you are.
You know, you get those...
Gianluca Vialli.
You get those companies...
Cristiano Ronaldo, you see?
Yeah, indeed.
Attilio Lombardo.
No, don't let him say anything. Just keep saying play.
It's done.
Jim, you could have just said Thomas Brolin.
I could have done, couldn't I? But what I'm going to talk about is those companies that do like a bundle of records or a bundle of T-shirts or something like that, and you don't know what it is until you get it. And
Too good to
Turkish
go.
Super League teams feel like that, don't they? You know what I mean?
Too good
That's
to go.
really
Like, if you're not
good.
paying attention to it, it's like, oh, En-Nesyri's there as well.
And the photo of him's just a shadow like it is in Championship Manager when you haven't scouted him yet.
They haven't got the image right.
No.
Jim, this will tickle your todger. It turns out that Jose has beef
Stay for it.
with Galatasaray's Mauro Icardi.
Yeah.
Icardi commented...
This was inevitable, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Well, it was. Icardi commented on a recent Jose Mourinho Instagram post where he was moaning away about a handball not being given against Galatasaray. We know Mourinho loves this, doesn't he?
Yeah.
Since he's been in Turkey, he's lent into the conspiracy theories about his current side, Fenerbahce, in a slightly troubling way, you could argue. And we know he's good on Instagram, but Icardi commented on this post with the crying one.
Yeah. So we know that Icardi's not the brightest tool in the picnic basket.
But that was quite sharp.
Well, I actually think when you look at what Mourinho's response was, which was to say, in relation to the comments of Icardi is a goat and I refuse to comment on a goat's words. He is too big. I won't comment. I think it's a bit of a shit comeback.
Yeah.
It is a bit, but
it
also
is.
we should say that GOAT is in block up, as we said.
Sure.
Icardi is a greatest of all time, and I refuse to comment on a greatest of all time's words. Does he misunderstand it? Does he think that if you're calling someone just a goat, a farmyard animal,
Well,
you
I think Jim's on the same. I think
it's a bit piss poor.
Mourinho is phoning these beefs in the same way he's phoning in his job.
Absolutely.
He's hoovering up loads of money for Turkey.
An intern's done that.
Yeah, but I saw a screenshot of a Mauro Icardi story with a photoshopped book of Mourinho saying called The Crying One as well. Now I can show it to you there if you want.
There you are.
The camera wants to see it. So it's I'd like I may have completely misunderstood this, but I like the idea of someone having that photoshopped up, mocked up, and put out.
I think it might be a bit of a meme in Turkey because he's always complaining about
Got it.
conspiracies
Okay,
and
that
whatnot.
makes sense. I don't watch Turkish football, so I couldn't tell you that.
It also feels like because of the two
Only
people
one man
involved.
in the UK does.
Because of the two people involved, it does feel a bit like Logan Paul, Jake Paul concocted beef.
Yes.
Yeah, that's what you mean.
Yes.
But I mean, it's not surprising that not many people do watch the Turkish league because, in the words of Mourinho himself, who wants to watch this Turkish league abroad? They have the Premier League, they have the French league, they have the German league, they have the Portuguese league. Why should they see this? It's too grey, it's too dark, it smells bad.
Yeah, and I love that he's left out Serie A and
Great
the
ambassador for the
Liga
league
as well.
Yeah, I
Still
know.
angry at those two leagues.
Yeah, exactly.
That's it.
What an ambassador he is for the football in that country, though. You know? It's too dark and it smells bad. Cheers, Jose.
Do you think the league administrators, when someone like him comes in, and it's partly why they've recruited in the way they have, they're like, oh, this is quite exciting. Players from all over Europe, big names still, going to draw eyes in. We've got a big manager as well. Oh, he's just shitting all over the league. Shitting all over the place.
Not even the third season yet. This is the golden age as far as the Mourinho cycle goes.
Yeah, true. Did you see that a fan was running alongside the Fenerbahce bus recently, and Mourinho asked the bus to stop and invited the fan on?
I did see
to show
that.
he's one of the people. He asked the fan to sing his favourite Fenerbahce chant before allowing him to meet the players, and the fan was seen later having lunch with the Fenerbahce team.
Yeah, the fan didn't really want to sing the song though, so it was a bit sinister.
Yeah, there's a little bit of an
when I read the story and then saw the kid was quite a lot older than I was expecting.
Yeah.
He looks legitimately about 18.
Oh, okay.
I thought he'd be like a 10-year-old or something.
Yeah.
That's a very different story though, isn't it?
Do you think he'd
Mourinho
seen-
kidnaps child.
Yeah.
Do you think he'd seen Guardiola's response, the understandable response to those autograph hunters?
Yeah.
And he thought, I'll do the opposite.
Yeah.
Come
I'll
on,
shut it.
come
I'm
aboard.
the guy. Yeah.
Yeah. Here's a thing you can sell on eBay. Sign it.
What's the bus like? It's dark and it smells bad.
That's your fault, though, James.
Yeah.
You got the light switch and the BO. Well, anyway, the José Mourinho derbies, it's not called, is happening in the Premier League on Sunday at 4:30. Tottenham versus Manchester United. Manchester United, of course, will be without their winger Anthony, who's on loan at Real Betis. Scored again last night for them. His second goal in 3 games.
He scored the goal that he endlessly tried to score at Man United, but he couldn't score because the defenders were too good.
Well, has something been unlocked?
Well, yeah, being away from United's probably helped him.
There you are.
Yeah.
But Spurs v Man United, a mid-table clash. 13th Manchester United take on 14th Spurs. 8 of Spurs' last 9 games have featured 3 or more goals. This is either going to end 3-3 or 1-0 or 0-0. Do you know what I mean? I think it goes either or. Vish is smiling. He thinks that Man United are going to be on the right end of a Premier League classic.
No, I just think this is a bit of a control experiment, isn't it? It's a system that breaks players' bodies against a system that seems to be breaking players' spirits.
yeah.
Who will come
Which
out on
one's
top?
which? Let's find out.
Yeah.
What would you rather?
I don't
love that. But
know anymore.
Amorim comes out with like a big necromancer's staff and a hood and starts just like casting spells on his own players. Postecoglou comes out with a load of hamstrings around his neck like a Vietnam veteran.
On a necklace.
Yeah, and the only people left, it's the strongest physical and mental players left are the only ones that can play. I think that'll be good. It'll be really good.
You'd like that?
I mean, Spurs have got 11 players out for injury.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes,
And
indeed.
Ange Postecoglou will simply refuse to take any responsibility of that. You're in charge of it.
This sounds like an agenda, actually, mate.
Oh.
No, we can't do it. There's not enough room for agendas. We've got agendas on Arsenal and Liverpool at the moment at the same time.
Michael Oliver as
Mostly
well.
to do with Michael Oliver.
Yeah.
So we've got to be careful with how many agendas we can execute successfully at the same time.
So I've taken a bit of flack by suggesting that Spurs perhaps should twist with regards to their manager. I will ask you boys then, if Spurs lose this game, I mean, presumably we think he's good to the summer. Do you just think that? I mean, Vish, you said previously on the show, and I was saying, perhaps they should change. And you know, well, it will be Postecoglou or Ryan Mason. Do you think? If Spurs lose this game, do you just think it doesn't, in terms of where Postecoglou's position, it doesn't really matter? It'll just keep carrying on.
I suppose it depends how they lose it.
I'm not talking like a 6-0 or something. But if it was,
But I don't think it matters.
No, but I feel like there's definitely a threshold of, especially against especially against this Manchester United.
Yeah, because a month or two ago, I was very similar to yourselves, thinking I think he's good to the summer, and I suspect they'll probably part ways in the summer, which is probably what I'm sort of veering to now. But just recent performances, it's been the manner of the defeats, and they do look leaderless, and I think that is an obvious problem.
No, they do have leaders. It's just a bit Lord of the Flies. It's like an 18-year-old and a 19-year-old.
Yeah.
But the thing, I do think a lot on both sides depends on how badly they get defeated. I don't think Amorim, for example, of the two managers who are more likely to be sacked in the event this goes badly for them, I say Ange is ahead of Amorim.
I don't think Amorim
but there's
will
no
get
guarantee that it will have a negative effect on Ange's, I suppose, career immediately. Like, he won't get sacked next week is what I'm saying. But a lot depends on this stylistically to a point, because Spurs are the more interesting of the two bad sides on show.
Yep.
And their whole thing under Ange has been about, making the most out of the space other teams give you. Whereas Manchester United don't necessarily have that, because they're a bit more about trying to play into a system that doesn't fit, trying to squeeze these square pegs through round holes kind of thing. And something will give on Sunday. And I suppose it depends how spectacular that is, that allows both teams to move on to a point, because I really do think it's in their best interest to properly go at each other this weekend. There's an element of, do you remember that scene in The Dark Knight where the Joker breaks a pool cue in half and gets the goons to fight each other to join his side? It's a bit like that.
Who's the Joker? Richard Masters? Who's in charge of the Premier League?
Who's getting the pencil through the eye?
Where we are the Jokers.
I don't think. Look, I'm looking forward to this game. I think because it's two so incompetent teams, anything could happen. Man United are definitely more boring with their incompetence than Spurs are. I totally agree with that. But nothing's going to happen on the manager front on either side. Whatever happens,
but
nothing
this
will
is,
happen.
an interesting point there. So with regards to the managers, then Postecoglou, a lot of people saying, "Come on, give him a chance." That you've got injuries to come back. My only fear for them is that they're in such a doldrum that even if all the players came back, I don't think. I wonder if they could then be re-energised and it would give them as much of a lift. I think they're sort of.
It depends how long they're back for.
Yeah, well, indeed. Yeah. Clearly, it would give them a boost. I just wonder if it's gone too low, if you see what I mean. But I would like to see it play out, because I do feel for Postecoglou, and as I stressed, it's the situation at Spurs. I mean, how many other managers have come along there? And I don't think Postecoglou's a bad manager. I think he is a Premier League manager. He's got that quality. Whereas, so people are saying, wait for the injuries to come back and then we'll see. Okay, fine. But with Amorim, I mean, there are reports of senior players privately talking about the need for him to change his approach. Now, this is a different situation for a lot of reasons, but Amorim, again, he's come in and things haven't improved. In fact, they've, on the pitch and results-wise, it's got worse.
Both clubs have got absolutely fucking terrible leadership at the top of the club.
Indeed, but
that's part of it, isn't
fine.
it?
But with regards to Amorim, it's, as I say, the results and everything have got worse. He is a good coach, and he'll have a good career in football. He already has done, but he will. There's no doubt about that. But if it's a case of the players aren't willing to go with his approach, and they're saying, "Come on, change it." That's a different kind of conundrum than what Spurs have.
And that's something for him to manage as well, isn't it? Like, essentially, the players disagreeing with your trademark method is an immediate stumbling block to implementing that method, isn't it?
And the results speak for themselves. It's not working.
Absolutely, it's not working at all, is it? And it's difficult to know. How that's going to pan out, because these things take time to bed in, and if the players aren't willing to try that, then what on earth do you do?
A squad overhaul in the summer.
But nothing's joined up. How many managers have those players seen off?
Yeah,
loads. And what's the story coming out of Man United? Well, just that Ratcliffe's having a good old go at trying to own the PR message a bit more by saying that he has to do all these ridiculous cost-saving measures because otherwise Man United will go out of business.
100 further redundancies. Yeah, none of them players.
Yeah, right. So. The ordinary kind of response to what you're talking about there would just be, look, well, these players are of a certain level. They've seen off a load of managers. They're all getting paid really well, and they're not doing very well. So the sensible thing to me would be, if you've gone after and got one of the best young managers in Europe, and you've got him in the middle of the season, and he hasn't had the pre-season yet, you need to put together a plan with him and his coaching staff and the director of football or whoever is in charge of strengthening, and say, which of these players do you want? And the ones you don't want, we'll get rid of, because we need to sell players for PSR reasons anyway. So it becomes part of a slow but important process. If the whole thing's going to be run like an absolute circus, like it has been in recent years, then who knows what's going to happen. But going back to the game itself, neither manager's going to lose a job off the back of this game. I don't think that's going to happen at all.
Amorim's very safe.
Yeah, and the reason Postecoglou,
unless he's one of the 100.
Well, that is true.
The reason Postecoglou's not going to go is because it's entirely convenient to Levy and the infrastructure at Spurs to keep him there. Because the big complaints that happened off the back of the Aston Villa defeat in the FA Cup were against Levy. And the only human shield he's got is Ange Postecoglou, because otherwise they're going to be descending back into this endless 18-month cycle where they start again every 18 months because the manager doesn't work out. And the reason it doesn't work out is because Daniel Levy's not capable of running a football operation. He's brilliant at the commercial stuff. He's turned him into a commercial powerhouse in terms of their revenues, but he cannot do the football stuff. So he needs Postecoglou there to make all these different excuses, because every time Postecoglou makes an excuse, he's also making one for Levy.
What do you think of the reports this week that a Qatari consortium looking to buy Spurs is reportedly willing to allow Spurs owner Daniel Levy to stay on as executive chairman?
Completely defeats the object. Completely defeats the point of it.
I don't know, though, because, I mean, they've obviously identified that he has done a very good job for them on the commercial side. They are in really rude health and really self-sustaining, which is what everybody wants. We don't know what the agreement is. Perhaps it will be that he stays in charge of that and someone else does the football stuff. I mean, it could work.
Well, yeah, but the executive chairman role that Daniel Levy currently occupies is also responsible for everything. So that sentence there that's in the running order that Marcus has put to us doesn't suggest he's going to change any responsibilities. If you're going to change responsibilities, then obviously fine. But I find that very difficult to expect him to swallow, given his position. He's been there for so long. Is he realistically going to say, okay, yeah, I am a bit shit at football, I'll just do the other stuff? I mean, he hasn't done that so far, so why would he do it now?
And the difference between this, potential situation is the fact that it's actually ENIC who aren't putting the money forward for Spurs to get all these new signings and whatnot. And Levy has been the front man of ENIC on the football side, so he gets a lot of the shit. And if he gets the opportunity to stay there with people who are willing to throw money at signings, for example, he can probably take the credit for that as well.
Is it time for them to get Alan Sugar back?
I wouldn't have thought so. Have you seen The Apprentice? Yeah. I would also just say, in the interest of kind of transparency, it is also worth pointing out, Jim, you mentioned Spurs being self-sustaining and all that kind of stuff. They are in a lot of debt. That's all. It's a serviceable debt.
Like that's in vogue at the moment.
Their commercial revenues are very good, is what I mean to say. But anyway, I mean, both clubs, for different reasons, are an absolute clown show. Which is why it should be a Sunday afternoon treat.
Well, exactly. They're fighting to not be the biggest laughing stock, aren't they? Which for the neutral is absolutely ideal.
Yeah. Would you call yourself a neutral, Jim?
Hates them both equally. You must hate Spurs more.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. It's Valentine's Day.
All right, whatever you want to call it.
Who do you love the least?
Spurs.
Right, okay. There we are. It's all about framing it.
There we go.
It's all about framing it.
It's better to have loved than lost.
That's right.
What I'll say.
Indeed it is. Now, a strong critic of Manchester United these days is Paul Scholes, which is understandable because he remembers the good times, a big part of the good times. Did you see that he said of Neil Maupay recently that he's an idiot who takes the piss, which is something we can all agree on.
Yeah.
And Neil Maupay is someone who kind of loathe to mention every now and then because he really does love the banter a bit too much.
Yeah, to the point where I'm not even sure he actually writes that stuff.
Yeah.
He loves it too much in a way that's not commensurate with the career he's had. Is that fair?
But that's the whole point,
or his age.
Or his age,
yeah. But I thought not a bad riposte, this. When replying to the clip on the overlap, which was circulated obviously on Soch, Maupay said, I'm surprised Paul Scholes can fit my name in his mouth alongside his daughter's toes.
I mean, yeah.
It's not bad, is it?
Got him there.
Yeah.
I mean, if you will bite your daughter's toenails on a video on the internet, you will become widely known for it.
Yeah, yeah.
And
it's just one of the rules of the internet.
The thing is, though, if Neil Maupay wasn't getting into these kind of spats with someone like Paul Scholes, it's quite difficult to imagine that Paul Scholes would have a very firm idea of who Neil Maupay actually was, which tells its own story, because Neil Maupay hasn't really had a career, has he?
Oh, come on.
Compared to Scholes.
Well, obviously not compared to Scholes.
Well, there you go then.
He made it into the Premier League.
Yeah, he did. So what? All the players we're talking about today made it into the Premier League. It's literally the point of the show.
Yeah. Mauro Icardi never made it to the Premier League.
Oh, that's fair, actually, yeah. Well done.
Just managed to bring that out.
You've won that one. You won, mate.
Coming up after this, Rio Ferdinand's jealous of Virgil van Dijk's hair, and a strikerless Arsenal head to Leicester.
Oh, that would be cleaned up immediately. Nothing more. Just a hand in the face, little facial. Yeah.
Thanks to Patreon member Shockingly Caucasian for sending us that clip. Remember, you can sign up to our Patreon for just $5 a month and get involved in the red hot chat with us and other Ramble listeners over on our Discord. You'll also get episodes of The Ramble up front and on the continent ad-free and an extended version of every Wednesday Ramble episode, all for the price of just a coffee per month. Not bad at all. Head to patreon.com/Football Ramble to sign up now.
Yeah, do you happy with that Ferdinand quote? I thought TNT's coverage of these games has become so bad now.
You and Clive Tildesley aren't happy,
It's become so poor. It really has. I'm not digging anyone out for any particular reason other than the fact that I am a football fan who likes watching the game. And I don't think we need like a full podcast over the show.
Yeah.
Three voices.
Well, hang on. If come the World Cup, the BBC are looking for an alternative red button and they want a podcast over the show, we are available.
Show us the money.
okay.
Don't give away your negotiating thing.
Sorry.
Show us the money.
Yeah, give us loads of cash.
Yeah, we'll be really busy, but we might better squeeze it in.
Yeah, you will have to
go.
increase the licence fee and punish the British public if you want us to
and then
get
we'll
involved.
punish them again on the telly.
It's a lose-lose.
Well, TNT are already doing it. Clive Tilsley made a really important point about this, which was that he's never liked three-man commentary teams.
No point.
Because the temptation that they all tend to not be able to resist is to talk to each other rather than the audience. And I think that's a really astute kind of assessment of what the problem is.
Mm-hmm.
I also think that it's really badly produced in a way because, Ali McCoy came in and he was like a breath of fresh air. And what it seems to me like's happened now is because everyone said how brilliant he is all the time, he can just do whatever he wants and never stop talking. Like these people, they need to be like controlled and produced and understand that they're covering a football match. Like people want to watch the football. And I think the reason that Keys and Gray got kind of bombed out is because they felt they were bigger than the football, right? They thought people were watching it for them.
And other reasons.
Yeah, of course, but that's
it feeds into that.
But that's the general mindset which led to what it led to, is what I'm saying. I'm not comparing them to each other. I'm just saying the general point.
They got bombed out because.
Did you watch the commentary?
Yeah, I mean, I find it unlistenable now.
Yeah.
So, I mean,
You've got to be honest. You've got to be honest.
I also think they've ruined McCoy's because, they made a big song and dance about getting him on that goal show for the last round of the Champions League and Europa League group stages. Totally missing the point that the reason people like him is because he's a co-commentator.
Yeah.
Oh, people love him. We'll get him out then, put him in the studio. No.
Yeah. I just think Rio Ferdinand turns it into his version of his own kind of giggle hour, and it's like, what's the point?
Well, he said on commentary that Everton forward Beto should have been getting more physical. Virgil van Dijk said, "I don't want to see Van Dijk's hair all pristine and nicely gelled. I want it ruffled and all over his face."
Why is he so obsessed with people's faces?
Yeah, with little facials. Yeah. Yeah, he also
Valentine's Day, to be fair.
Yeah, true. We mentioned treat yourself. We mentioned this on Ramble Reacts, didn't we? That he kept talking about this game being like it was like the good old days. It's it's happening now, Rio.
Yeah,
it's the game you're commentating on right now. It's not like the good old days.
I mean, that point you can sort of understand. I mean, it's a bit, we've got our game back.
But that's what I mean. It's a bit over the top, isn't it?
Yeah, I think so.
Also, how many times have you used that quote this season alone?
Yeah, I know.
True.
Game's here. Game's fine.
As a wise man once said, nostalgia's not what it used to be. Leicester host Arsenal tomorrow at 12:30. As we briefly mentioned on Reacts this week, Kai Havertz, as you all know probably, will miss the rest of the season with a hamstring injury after getting injured while in Dubai on a training camp.
From a pressing drill.
Was it?
Something like that.
I mean, look, it's a signal of an injury. And
They're going to be doing drills, Jim.
Sure, they are.
They are doing. Thank goodness it wasn't in Salt Bay's restaurant or something.
I heard that Ange Postecoglou went over to the train station, just poked his head in. Twang! Twang! Havertz his hamstring went.
I think that's why Ollie Watkins is injured. He just considered playing for Arsenal, and that was enough.
Postecoglou got his hamstring, wrapped that one around his neck.
There we are,
See you later.
It's a shame for Havertz. I mean, I know he's had criticism, but I mean, come on, nobody would wish that.
He's a top scorer.
Yeah, he is. He's obviously he's missed a lot of big chances, but he's also been very, very important and led the line really well. He covers a lot of ground as well, and there are only 3 fit forwards at Arsenal now. The tallest is Ethan Nwaneri at 5'9".
Legend.
So that's going to necessitate
basically a boy.
some changing.
He's
He is
legally a boy.
He has to change in a different room. He's legally a boy, as you say.
Oh, suddenly injuries matter when it's Arsenal, when it's Spurs. Unbelievable, isn't it?
I think it's outrageous, Marcus, what Jim's doing.
I do.
Right.
If you look at the number of games Havertz has played, not even just this season, but since the start of 2024, it's ridiculous.
He's still only 25. Like, you think he's been
Yeah.
a lot older than that because he's played so much.
His availability has been part of his charm to a point, but also it feels a little bit like an Arsenal fan's had a monkey paw wish of get him out the team.
Yeah.
Not like that.
Yeah, exactly.
It's a great shame for him, and would have put a dampener on the Dubai training camp. Which,
Absolutely, yeah.
Which is their happy place, isn't it?
But I think the way Jim, I think the way they've got to approach this though is they've got to understand as a club that the chat about them, not having a recognised striker and stuff has been something that's dominated Arsenal over the last couple of seasons.
This is the new defensive midfielder chat with
I
Arsenal.
think it is.
Yeah, but it's not unfair criticism, though, is it? There's been 2 windows to address it, and I know it's harder in January, but this problem was possible and has now happened.
But the way Arteta will approach it, surely, is the positive spin he'll be putting on it with the team is we've had 15 different scorers in the Premier League this season. We've shared the goals out a lot, and we just need to do more of that, basically.
Oh yeah, I think with the criticism of it, it's an easy one. Again, Arsenal had a near perfect season last season, and if it isn't for Guardiola's Man City in full flow, they win that league. fairly comfortably. So again, to sort of go, that's the problem. But clearly, though, not having a recognised forward, it just gives that other option, I think, that some other teams have. So I suppose that would be the criticism. And this season as well, very difficult, though, keeping up with Liverpool and Slot. But Vish, you had a little smirk on your face and did a little pointing there. What were you going to say about
Well,
this?
no, because you mentioned it was similar to the defensive midfield chat
Yes.
that we used to have with Arsenal.
I mean, that went on for years. It was still, people would still mention Patrick Vieira for years. after he left.
and one of the players who was brought in to alleviate that, or ended up in parts alleviating that, was Arteta.
Yes, that's right. Yeah.
That's funny.
It's going to lead to some quite weird things as well, because I don't think he's going to change the formation. Certainly not from the off, anyway. So
You wouldn't want to spite the rest of the team to cover for that, would you?
well, exactly, because
Yeah.
I think you've got too many new players having to get used to slightly different positions, and then that leads to an increase in the chance of just someone being out of position and then a goal happening, etc. But you've got Sterling, Trossard, Nwaneri. That's it. So there's not even anyone that can come on as a sub to change it. So you're going to see Kieran Tierney at left wing. You're probably going to see Mikel Merino as a head on a stick, sort of makeshift centre forward. So
I think you might play
in a
Trossard
weird
there, like
way,
a false
that's
nine
he
type.
will absolutely do that. Yeah,
okay.
But I think that's in a weird kind of self-destructive way. That's quite exciting.
Yeah, well, I
I
mean,
know what you mean,
let's
yeah.
be clear.
They're playing Leicester.
They've got enough. They've got enough to beat Leicester. Sure.
Can I just chuck in there though? The player who shouldn't get out of this situation and conversation scot-free is actually Raheem Sterling. Incredibly experienced player.
It's
won
a
a
real
lot,
chance for him.
Hasn't done anything at all of note at Arsenal for whatever reason. I mean, he's not had a particular run in the team, so you give him a little bit of credit for that. Whenever he's played, he's looked actually quite poor. I'm not sure if it's too much to say he's looked a bit disinterested, but he's not been engaged.
I think he's worked really hard. I just don't think his body can do what he used to be able to do. He never looks like he's going to beat his man. His decision making looks a little bit poor, possibly because he's a bit more because he's a bit slower.
He's going to have to play though.
He will. What I will say for him is that I think he's only started one game on the left, which is his best position. That was against Girona. He missed a penalty in that game, which is what everyone remembers. But he was a lot better than he had been. He faded in the second half, which is an inevitable part of his game and his age, I think, at this point. But hopefully, with my Arsenal spectacles on, that will that will suit him better than the right wing.
Sterling's 30 now. And
Not a
has
miles on
played,
the clock though.
Yeah,
and hasn't
17,
played an
wasn't it?
enormous
He's
amount of
broke
football.
through.
Yeah.
And I think this is something that will become a reality, is that players may well, partly because, I mean, you could sort of twist it in a certain way and say because of the money they earn, but I don't want to look at it like that. I think it's more to do with the stress that they put on their bodies, and Sterling is a good example of that. That by the time he gets to 30, absolutely exhausted.
Well, look at Harry Kane.
Well,
He didn't start as early, but had such a consistent and concentrated season after season.
But
He's only 31.
But Kane's adapted his game and is playing in a different
But
way.
he's slower.
but I mean, Kane.
But domestically, he's scoring more goals than he's ever scored.
Yeah, and
But over there.
but I mean, it's apples and oranges with the way Kane plays, as you say, and his
Definitely.
range of passing and so on. But Sterling,
Farmers League. as you know.
Well, I never said that. But Sterling, with that pace and so on, as you say, Jim, it's difficult. But it's also difficult that he's been a bit part player. So if indeed he could get up to speed, it's very difficult to get up to speed because if you're not playing every week. But this is a chance for him to really step up, as Luke was suggesting. And you say he's won the lot. Well, the one trophy he hasn't won is the Champions League, and there's a chance this season.
Not much
Dare
of a
I
chance.
suggest?
No.
Oh, is there not?
But
Yeah, you're right. But they're still in it. But anyway,
but
that's
the other thing is that, we haven't spoken about Leicester yet, and Leicester, obviously,
let's get them out of the way.
they've just been a funny few weeks for them because they went away to Spurs and got a big result. I know Spurs are Spurs,
It
but
was still a good result.
yeah, away from home as
Yeah.
well, and they hadn't won in the league for a wee while before that. A long while actually before that, and then they followed it up with like a really poor performance at Everton. Fair enough, they got on the end of a kind of pumping Goodison Park. Everyone's happy David Moyes is there, and it seems to be going well for Everton now.
It was still poor, though.
It was poor from them, but it was also quite hard timing for them.
Yeah.
But they didn't show anything at all. Then they were knocked out by United in the FA Cup.
Which they showed a little bit, but I mean,
embarrassing,
they
isn't it?
they were very much invited to show something.
getting up to Old Trafford and getting turned over.
But the good thing for Leicester is, and I know this is, it almost might sound like a churlish point. I don't mean it like that at all. The good thing is how bad they've been. They're 2 points from safety.
Well, I was going to say, but the problem with Leicester, if you're a Leicester fan, is that if you somehow manage to stay up, you're just going to get pumped every week next season. And if you get and if you get relegated, you're probably going to get a load of EFL charges for financial irregularities and get a points deduction. So there's not really existentially much to be happy about.
But you know as well as I do. I mean, and that is a churlish point, because if they do stay up, you've got a chance to rebuild and so on. But as I said, the problem for them is I think that Wolves' squad is better, and they've twisted rather than stuck with the manager, of course.
Well, if you want to defend their position, then just ask their fans. Their fans will tell you exactly what they're thinking, which is that they're having a nightmare and they're in a really, really bad position, whatever happens.
Well, indeed, they're in the relegation zone.
Yeah, but it's beyond that. It's more than that, is what I'm saying.
Well, of course it is, but the reality of the league, I think we've made the point, is that Wolves have a better squad, and Wolves can play their way out of this. Leicester need snookers. I don't think they can play their way out. It's 3 from 4. Can they catch Wolves? I think probably not in the end. If they do, my goodness, it will be an incredible thing. But
they also need to, just to put a bit more meat on the bones there. If they do stay in the Premier League, which I agree with you looks unlikely, they're essentially, unless it changes, and I think the Premier League teams, I think, have announced that they're not going to change the PSR rules for the rest of this for this foreseeable, because I don't think there's any time to implement them. They want to make a move to a slightly different direction, which we've talked about before, but that's not happening yet. If they do stay in the Premier League, they're going to be absolutely crippled by PSR. They're not going to be able to strengthen.
Well, a group of Leicester fans calling themselves Project Reset plan to protest against the club hierarchy at the King Power. They feel aggrieved by a lack of direction from the ownership amid fears of another relegation, which is... It's incredible how it can all change. Right, coming up after this, Newcastle are off to the Etihad. Gentlemen, Manchester City host Newcastle United tomorrow at 3 p.m. Big game in the Premier League. Now, before we get to that, we need to make a little amendment to our story or our chat about Jason Tindall and his Wham hoodie, which we spoke about, of course, the other day on the pod when Newcastle hosted Aston Villa, and there was a bit of a ruckus in the tunnel, and Tindall reappeared, and we thought it was hilarious that he came out wearing a Wham hoodie. Well, Football Ramble patron member Jam Hands gave us a crucial update on Jason Tindall.
Fantastic, isn't it?
Yeah. After we spoke about him appearing in that tunnel with that Christmas jumper on. It was a Wham hoodie, but it had Eddie Howe and Jason Tindall's faces photoshopped in.
Yeah, because they sing this next year to give me Save Me From Tears, I'll give it to Jason Tindall, right? Yeah. That's the Wham song thing, right? Yeah. That's the chant. But it's great to have Howe in there as well. It makes them look like a couple.
But that makes, when we were saying that, this is a strange bit of shithousery, it's slightly less strange because of that.
He is wearing a header with his own face on it.
Yeah, though. It's quality.
Slightly less strange, but still enjoyably strange.
Yeah, no, but it's not as incongruous as just turning up in a Wham hoodie, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Who was George Michael?
I think so. I think it was Howe on the left. Yeah,
right, okay.
Yeah. So Tindall's,
you didn't know that, did you?
No, I can't remember.
No, you're right.
But Tindall's very much an Andrew Ridgeley.
Yeah, right.
to Eddie Howe's George Michael.
I like the way it does.
Andrew Ridgeley's a bit more dignified, I think.
It does explain it. Yeah, it explains it in our minds as if like wearing a Wham hoodie independently was a crime.
Yeah,
there's nothing really wrong with any of it.
No, but again, it was a bit like that is a piss take. But as you said, Jim, you don't know
hard
why.
to put your finger on why, isn't it? And that's the genius of it.
But traditionally in football teams, there's as far as I understand it, there's always been an idea that the manager is the manager and the assistant manager is the go-to between the manager and the players. He get on the level with the players. He kind of takes a lot of information from them.
And we're going to talk about assistant managers tomorrow on the mailbag.
We are, and work out the different, what the vibes are like and stuff. And I kind of love that Jason Tindall is like the absolute apex of that. He's like clearly the players have got him that hoodie as like a Christmas present, a Secret Santa or something.
Yeah.
And I love the fact that like he goes down the tunnel and he's amongst the lads and they've had a result and he's got it on and they're all like, yeah, Tindall.
No, but it was before the full-time whistle.
But I reckon they just love him for that. I reckon the reason that we take the piss out of him is almost certainly why the Newcastle players love him.
Yeah, of course, and that's the thing with Eddie Howe,
and the fans, to be fair.
Yeah. But Brassel was saying about Howe, as many people have made the point, that he is almost like the perfect PR guy for Newcastle United. With the controversy of the ownership, they would have wanted the manager just to kind of take the sting out of that. And rightly or wrongly, whatever one may think about that, that's, I'm sure, what they would have wanted. Howe is plays with a very straight bat, doesn't he, in press conferences? It's a bit boring, but I mean, there's not too many press conferences that are that exciting.
He just seems like I think he just seems like he's like a nice bloke, just like
a company's man.
Yeah, like a diluted, tepid bloke.
Indeed, and so Tindall is obviously the opposite of that. He comes across, he clearly rubs people up Well, I say the wrong way, but Tindall's he knows what he's doing.
Way, yeah.
And so with Howe obviously knows that, sanctions it, loves it, gives him more fuel for it. But you don't think about that, do you?
Well, because they're trying to clamp down, and they obviously were doing this last season, but they were trying to clamp down on managers essentially standing up too much and like pushing things in the technical area. So assistant manager became more prominent because it was like, right, you take the hit for then. You might as well take the first yellow. Yeah. And then when I get up, I'm going to be like, oh, no, I know, yeah. And you almost act as a distraction tactic. Because a couple of other managers obviously have mentioned Tindall as like, why is he always there? What's he doing?
The managers are mentioning it.
Yeah.
Klopp mentioned him once.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
exactly.
And, there was the
Doesn't
big
Arteta hate him as well?
Yeah, and there was a Gary O'Neill thing with a handshake where he made a deliberate play to ignore him and shake
but I tell you what,
hand first.
Tomorrow at the Etihad, there's such a chance.
It's a big stage, that technical area.
Well, indeed, and it's a real chance.
And the fucking boardroom as well.
Indeed, but it's a real chance for Newcastle to overrun them. How much has been made? Well, again, we're only observing what's been happening, by the way. But that Man City team at the moment, their press is disjointed. They look exhausted at times. I think disjointed really is the word.
Sloppy.
Newcastle, very sloppy. My goodness. This Newcastle side right now, in the moment they're in, despite, the loss against Bournemouth, but that does seem a little while ago now, after that impressive performance against Arsenal, blah, 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 they know exactly what they're doing. And that midfield is not going to give them a flipping inch, and they will be on them.
If I was a Man City fan, watching what I watched against Real Madrid, watching what I watched against Arsenal, I'd be nervous about this.
Yes, absolutely.
Because they're blood and fond of Newcastle.
And their midfield in particular is probably the best midfield unit in the Premier League. It's so tight, so good. Be very interesting to see if we see Nico Gonzalez make his Premier League debut. I think he's available. That space is obviously the biggest hole in City at the moment with the problems they're having. So I wouldn't expect that he'd come in and make a Rodri style difference straight away.
He is available. I don't know if he'll play.
Well, after the Leyton Orient game where he basically goes off injured and he sees what's happening and he looks at that Newcastle team, might go, can I have another week?
He was on the bench.
Right? Oh, I think it's sore actually.
He was on the bench against Real Madrid as well, wasn't he?
Yeah.
Probably didn't like that much either.
No, I was going to say.
Yeah.
Interestingly, of course, Sergio Aguero said before the Real Madrid game that Real Madrid can't beat Manchester City. If they do, I'll cut my testicles off.
Yeah.
So
Valentine's Day, isn't it?
Well, presumably that testicular seppuku is happening before the game, is it?
Yeah.
No,
half-time entertainment.
Very well.
Half-time entertainment.
Yeah, indeed.
I just think, the one takeaway I've had from watching Man City in these bigger games is that when a team they're playing against moves through the gears, they can't respond.
Yeah.
They're not able to respond. Yeah. And that doesn't mean they don't win games. But I said to you guys, I think people might think, based on the social media response, I think people thought I was being deliberately provocative, but I wasn't. I thought Nico Gonzalez, it was a real baptism of fire at Leyton Orient. I think he got bullied. I'm not saying the midfielders he played against were better than him. I don't think they were, but he got bullied. And if he doesn't like that, and he's not really had that much of a role to play in the Real Madrid game, he's not going to like this.
No.
Because like you said, Jim, you've got Tonali, Guimaraes and Willock in there. He's everywhere.
Joe Linton as well. Is Joe Linton out at the moment?
Yeah, he's out.
He's unavailable.
Which is probably the thing that I think makes this less of a foregone conclusion, because
they'll be delighted he's out.
Anthony Gordon's out as well.
Not confirmed. He's doubtful.
Well, he's doubtful. Yeah.
You think Isak would be expecting a field there as well, the gaps that they've started leaving in the defence.
But I thought that I know it was a slightly different role for him, and I know they inevitably lost the game, but I actually thought John Stones did okay against Real Madrid. I thought he did.
Well, at times they played all right.
Yeah.
And that's the thing, they've got good players.
Yeah.
So as I said, don't be surprised if they actually do something.
You know the brief that Howe and Tindall were going to give to Newcastle for this game, and they're going to execute it.
They are.
And whether Man City can stand up to it is a really interesting one.
But you also know the brief that Guardiola's going to give his players.
Yeah. Because it's complicated, isn't it?
Yeah, well, yeah. But the eventual brief he's going to give them, and it's been so devastatingly effective for the majority of his career. But right now they're in a bit of a sticky moment because it's Valentine. Oh, sorry, that was naughty of me. But they're still fifth, Manchester City, and they are above Newcastle United in the table.
They're not
on
happy
goal
with
difference.
that, though, are they? But they're still
both on 41 points. But it's a big game in terms of Champions League places.
Yeah, but if you walked into Guardiola's office now and said, "Don't worry, Pep, you're still fifth." He's not going to be happy with that, is he? He's going to throw something and not scratch his own head. Probably.
No, he's not going to throw something. I don't think he lashes out at people. I think he'll just stick one on himself.
Yeah.
See what you're doing to me?
Yeah.
Well, anyway, an intriguing game it shall be. Now, did you see that Thomas Tuchel and Gareth Southgate were watching Man City and Real Madrid during the week? of course, there was reportedly no England chat.
Well, of course there was England chat. What else are they going to talk
But
about?
plenty of nudges and winks and handshakes and so on, because that was Florentino Perez who was in the same box, apparently.
Oh, nice.
Nice to see Southgate still mixing it with the big boys.
It's quite a lineup in that box because Ronald Koeman, Rafa Benitez was in there.
God, blimey.
I mean, it's like a terrible Love Island.
Or the best Love Island we've ever seen.
Yeah, actually, I'd watch it.
Yeah,
I'd watch it.
definitely.
Yeah, Love Island for people who aren't like Love Islanders.
True.
It's good.
Yeah.
Tindall smashes the door open and wins it.
Tyndall's the bombshell.
Tindall could win Love Island.
Yeah.
He could.
I can imagine Tyndall walking into the Love Island
Yeah.
village just going, "Shamal motherfuckers."
Yeah. Oh, if he
Yeah.
walked in, every other bloke, no matter how big, no matter how many followers, no matter whatever they've got, they'd just be like, "Oh, Gordon Bennett."
I'd like him to come in the Wham hoodie on,
Yeah.
but completely Billy Bonds apart from that. Flip flops.
Yeah.
Condom on, ready.
Oh God.
Nice. Very nice. That's nice.
He knows why he's there.
Happy Valentine's. It's Valentine's Day
Yeah, it
special.
is,
yeah.
It's a Valentine's Day
Yeah.
special. Yeah.
Yeah. What's not romantic about that?
Yeah. Oh goodness.
Where are
me.
we?
Someone order a fucking Cupid.
Yeah.
Dean Smith also says you're an encyclopedia of football.
A what?
An encyclopedia of football.
I don't know what that means.
It's time for Jack's Encyclopaedia, and much like a first-team goalkeeper who's made a few errors, I've been taken out the limelight and I'm hosting.
Unbelievable
was making
things.
some mistakes.
We're going to have to change the name of this game soon if Grealish's career keeps going through the floor.
Oh, poor little Jack.
Yeah.
Anyway, enough of that rubbish. Last week, Vish retained his belts again, beating myself and Andy.
So frustrating to listen to that. So frustrating.
Oh, he cannot be beaten.
But the thing is,
that
though,
man.
without getting it too much into it, because obviously Vish has got both the belts. I want them back. The Luke Nation are behind me, and I'm doing this for them today. You're so much better than this.
I know.
Yeah.
Hence,
Your
I've been-
knowledge is so good.
I know.
Isn't this memory for things so
You've
good?
got the. I told you the other day. You've got the yips.
Well, hopefully this
He
is the
has,
cure.
because we were, before we came in today, we were talking about the 2001 semi-finals of the FA Cup, and he was describing the goals. He's describing the goals that they've scored.
The right questions are just not coming up. And annoyingly, when I saw the first question for this, I thought, that'd have been my round. But anyway.
Oh, okay.
England
it's easy-
adjacent then.
So
Here we
anyway,
go.
Jim's kept pretty quiet up to now. He could steal this title.
Yeah, he
It's not
could
just
do.
about me and Vish.
Yeah, you know.
Yeah.
Anyway, it's a simple game of categories. If you go to slow, Gary Neville will spunk. Now,
For
first.
Valentine's Day. For Valentine's Day.
We should play it out in full, shouldn't we?
Yeah. All over Jason Tindall.
Oh, dear.
Come on.
What?
That's what he
Wearing
said.
a jumper.
Anyway, right, as it's Valentine's Day, I want every club that Joe Hart has played for. Jim, kick us off.
Man City.
Who's next?
Same, it's always the same.
Spurs.
Celtic.
Nice.
Burnley.
Nice. Oh my God. Shrewsbury.
Well played,
what a
well
shout.
played. I believe that's where he's from, Luke.
West Ham.
5. Wolves.
What?
Just a guess.
Yes. Okay. Fair enough.
Thinking an early loan or something.
He played for Torino, didn't he?
Did.
A good one.
He also played for Birmingham City.
Nice.
2 to go.
It's me now because Jim's out.
Yep.
Yeah.
2 to go. These are the tricky ones.
I think I've got them both.
These are tricky, these two. So you got the ones I thought you'd get.
I think he played for Blackpool on loan.
That's magnificent. Vish,
Very good.
to save the round.
I also think did he play for Tranmere?
Oh,
That's
my
what I've got.
Oh, my
I had it as
goodness.
well.
Yeah.
Well played, boys. And this is why he's the champion. That's why he...
Point
is
each, is it?
It is a point each.
Well played, Vish.
I'm very impressed with that. Excellent round, gentlemen. You both
All
got
of
a
them.
point each.
Ah, nice. I'll take that.
Very well played.
Side by side.
Would you have got Blackpool?
Don't think so.
Because
No.
I didn't know where to go for Blackpool or Tranmere.
I'm really impressed you got them.
Yeah.
Would you have got Wolves?
Because he did loads of loans.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah.
But I mean...
We've got all the teams. Wow.
Yeah, very impressive stuff. And that, I tell you what, you got Vish.
I've got all 10 of them written down with the camera there. There you go.
They are, you see. Vish, the Pep Guardiola of the piece at the moment.
Can't get near him. Can't lay a glove on
Vintage
him.
Pip. And Klopp keeping steady there.
What helped was keeping tags of the names that have already been said.
Yeah.
I'm doing that. That's a new thing I'm doing
Yeah.
now.
All right, round 2. Very guessable, this. for obvious reasons. Every team to make it into the FA Cup 5th round this season. So this season, every team in the 5th round of the FA Cup, boys. Come on. Luke Moore, to begin.
Let's go for...
Come on.
Yeah, I'm just trying to be tactical about it. Man City.
Manchester United.
Aston Villa.
Very good. Brighton.
Plymouth Argyle.
Very good.
Fulham.
Lovely. Get an extra ding for that.
Newcastle United.
They're in there.
Millwall.
Well done.
Palace.
Oh, I'm struggling now.
Getting through them now.
I'm struggling.
It's Torres.
Nottingham Forest.
Ipswich Town.
Oh. Preston in there.
They are, Jim Campbell.
Wow.
Well done, mate.
3 left.
3 left. This is just the standard. Is unbelievable.
Sorry, 4 left. 4 left.
4 left.
This is a fantastic round. Yeah. I mean, it's people say, oh, but the draw was made recently. When you're in these chairs, people,
Yeah.
it's tough.
Under these lights.
Under these lights.
Oh, I can't think of any. I think I'm going to have to go. I can't think of anything.
You can think of them.
It's Torres.
Have a guess.
That's not helping.
A place in the Champions League final. The headline has been written.
Name a team.
Everton.
Vish.
Burnley.
Correct. Yeah, well done.
Bournemouth.
They beat,
Yes, lads.
beat Everton, of course.
Jim, I need you to get this point.
Wow.
2 left.
Jim, I need you to get this.
Fuck it all. I think that's me done.
Jim, your fucked up finger. I need you to get this.
It's Torres to give Chelsea a place in the Champions League final. The headline has been written.
I think we've had Nottingham Forest.
We have
Yeah.
Jim Campbell for the round.
Come on, Jimbo. How many left?
2 left.
We need you to get this point, Jim. Marcus.
Coventry.
It's Torres.
Ooh.
So you two are both back in because I was out earlier.
Yeah. Vish.
Otherwise, no one gets a point if you don't get it this time.
Oh, what's the point coming back in?
You've got, I guess just name a team. I guess that's what you
Yeah.
can do, really.
It's Torres to give Chelsea a place in the Champions League final. The headline has been written.
Chelsea.
Knocked out by Brighton, weren't they? The
Where
aforementioned
indeed.
Brighton.
Jim Campbell.
Wolves.
He's got it.
Oh, fair play.
1 point each, everyone.
Turn it around for me.
Who did Wolves beat?
They beat...
Everyone they've met so far, mate.
Exactly. How long have you got?
Wolves beat Blackburn, of
I
course. In the...
I'm telling you, wasn't it? He doesn't know. Joe Hart was in goal, apparently.
Yeah, I was thinking to myself, Jim, this is the time to play the Wolves
So 1
card.
point each, and there's 1 game left.
That's 1 game
so
left.
it's the winner takes all.
Wow.
This
Sudden
is
death.
this is vintage Jack's Encyclopaedia.
Oh, God, that
and
sounds
the
good.
one team you didn't get was Cardiff City,
Okay.
by the way.
Sorry, Cardiff fans. Didn't mean to
so
forget
it's
you.
disrespectful. You always forget the Welsh.
Yeah, we are going to keep doing it, aren't we?
This one is tricky. This one is tricky.
Cool.
But it's guessable. It's the sweet spot of Jack's Encyclopaedia, you might argue.
You want guessable ones, yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Now listen and listen carefully.
Vish, terrible listener. Listen.
Huh?
Players, football players that have scored at least 80 Premier League goals, but fewer than 100. Right?
Okay.
So we're looking for players that have scored between 80 and 99 goals in the Premier League.
Who's going first?
Vish is up first, the champ.
Marcus Rashford.
Oh, that's a lovely one.
Good one.
Great start.
Oh, I didn't know it was true. I just said it just sounded like it would be.
Can Jim Campbell get one?
Sadio Mane.
Oh, that's a great guess. That's unfortunate.
I
That.
understand how you've gone for that,
Yeah.
but it is incorrect.
So if I don't get one-
I mean, there's
How
lots
many
of,
are there? How many
lots
are
of big names in here.
How many?
There's 27.
27 players.
Well, 26 now that...
Okay. I think so. This is actually quite convenient for me because I was quite recently.
Never limit at any point, by the way.
I was looking at the players who scored more than 100 because it used to be a really good pub quiz question, and now there's loads of them. I think Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. I don't think he's got 100.
Oh, well
Love that.
done.
99,
Well done.
91, sorry.
91.
Yep.
He's been there long enough. I just
Vish?
think he got 100.
I'm going to go with Carlos Tevez,
It's on my list. Should have said it, shouldn't I?
Fucking hell.
As I say, lots of big names in here.
Right. The only one I actually know, I'm pretty sure is the case, is Yakubu.
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
Nicely done.
I'm going to go for Ruud van Nistelrooy.
Fucking Elvish.
Mm-hmm. But it's a famous one that he didn't get 100.
Yeah. I think Dennis Bergkamp might be in there.
Nice.
Well done.
I'm going to go for Louis Saha.
Fucking hell.
Wow.
He wants those. He wants to keep those belts. Still guessable ones in there.
Dimitar Berbatov.
Ooh.
Surely taking an answer away from Vish there.
Yeah. I think those were my Man United ones.
Any other ones?
I think I've got one more.
Mind games.
You know what? Fernando Torres?
Also on my list.
Shit, gee. Fucking hell.
Come on, Lukey.
I've got two left, but I'm not sure about one of them.
Go with the one you're sure about, surely.
Emmanuel Adebayor.
Oh, I had
Correct.
that down.
And that was one because he went back to Palace and he was keen to get
Nice.
his.
Yeah.
To go,
How many did he get?
He
Did you
did
have
it
it down?
97.
Oh.
Vish.
The other name I have here, which just makes sense, Eden Hazard.
Oh, fuck me.
It's a good round, boys.
So I've only got one name left, and I'm not sure about it. And did I go first, or Vish went first?
Vish
didn't
went
he?
first. You've got to get this to stay in it.
Kevin Phillips.
He's in.
Yeah.
Well
That's a
played.
lovely
Great
touch.
round.
Vish, if you get one, that's that, I think, because I can't think of anyone else.
Mind games, Vish.
That's me done.
Come on, don't give up like that. Not for the nation.
What's Theo Walcott saying?
Theo Walcott saying you're in pole position.
Oh,
80.
That's really
80.
Fucking hell.
Fish, that
Luke Moore.
80?
80.
80.
Wow.
Luke Moore, you've got to pick yourself up because you can get this. There are guessable ones, as I say. You very much know every scorer who's left in this. But time is ticking.
Gary's tumescent.
It's Torres to give Chelsea a place in the Champions League final.
Name a player.
Line has been
Erling Haaland.
He's in.
Oh, yeah!
Smart.
How many's he got?
Smart.
He's got 82.
Oh,
Vish.
a couple of weeks ago, that's probably not even the right answer.
Visho.
Oh, that is absolute. What a dancer that is. How many left?
There's a fair few. Vish.
Oh, come on.
Giroud.
Olivier Giroud. He's in there.
Oh, my God.
Come on,
Untouchable.
Lukey. You got to pick yourself
This is
up.
untouchable
You got
in
to
this
pick
game.
yourself up.
How is he so good?
Again, guessable ones left and a couple of handfuls.
Shit.
It's Torres to give Chelsea a place in the Champions League final. The headline has been written.
Nah, I got nothing. Well played, Vish. I can't argue with that. I can't argue with it.
A magnificent round of Jack's Encyclopaedia.
I had 11 written down. I still didn't win.
Who do we have left? Vish shows why he's still the champ. My goodness.
I'm taking that every day of the week.
My
Vish.
goodness.
Well done, Vish.
Callum Wilson, Chris Sutton, Christian Benteke, Chris Wood, Craig Bellamy, Gary Speed, James Beattie, Kevin Campbell, Kevin Davis, Mark Viduka, Riyad Mahrez, Roberto Firmino.
I don't know if
Wow.
I just can't see myself guessing any of those.
Yeah, I mean, it's easy when you're in the chair just saying, guess a player. But I mean, it was...
What a great round.
It's just such a specific
Yeah.
brief.
Yeah.
That I was literally thinking of players that I'd seen quite recently on that 100 or more.
Yeah, I know what you
That
mean.
weren't on there.
Yeah.
And now they just run out of
I was
this.
Well, because we've done 100 or more before, haven't we?
Yeah.
I was thinking Luis Suarez because the amount of time
Yeah.
he was there, but he wouldn't have been in there, would he?
He's
It's
not in
very
there.
difficult.
After the
Was
quality
he? So he wasn't. I mean,
Suarez wasn't in there.
wow.
Not in that
Any
one.
people that are close to being in there?
There were a few. I could name Gabriel Jesus, Danny Welbeck and Danny Ings, all in the 70s.
Ah.
I'm going to be sick.
What
Danny
a
Ings will be in the
round,
70s for some
everybody.
time.
My goodness, what
Well
entertainment
played, Vish. That was brilliant, mate.
Yeah, really
well
good.
done. Can't argue with that.
Excellent round. Well done, Vitush.
On the day of love.
yes,
Hate
indeed.
one.